Hey guys, what's up? Out here in SoCal, winter's kind of in full effect. We just had some big rains, and me and George went out with Fred Kenshaw, the Hammer Fury, shortly after the rains. We knew fishing was going to be a little tough, but we went anyways. Ended up with a 30 fish day. But at the end of the trip, Captain sat down, took a minute with us, and told us all about his program and the lakes he fishes on. Stay tuned, check it out.
That's all right. Hi folks, Fred Kenshaw Fishing, Southern California. Professional fishing guide at Lake Casitas, Lake Castaic, and now Lake Pyramid. I open 365 days of the year, and we typically fish bass, all the bass, smallmouth, largemouth, striped bass. But anything you want to do, we target trout, we target perch, we target crappies, trophy crappies at Lake Casitas. Love doing that. We book online at www.fredklinshawfishing.com, or if you want to just call me, text me. Instagram is the Hammer of Fury on Instagram, or you could just type in my name, Fred Kenshaw. And yeah, I'd love to take you fishing. We have 3 boats to choose from. We have a bass boat for all the lakes, and we also have a pontoon boat for Lake Casitas that takes up to 7. It's great for parties. It's great for guys' trips. It's great for ladies' trips, families, whatever you'd like to do. We use high quality equipment, new stuff all the time. We're doing different techniques. We're pretty savvy with most of them. If you want to just come out and learn a technique, or you just want to come out and catch a big fish, we'll do our best at that. And we also just catch fish. When you want to come out and just learn how to cast, tie, whatever the case, we cater completely around what your desire is in the fishing world. One of the fish we target is stripers. I absolutely love that fish. We chase stripers typically with artificial lures, but we're not above using bait, of course. It is a fish that I love so much because it reminds me of saltwater fishing. It's a pelagic fish a lot of the times, not all the time. So we use our Panoptics, we use all our electronics to chase these guys, casting to them, and they are one of the toughest fish in freshwater to pull. And we just love them. Come out and try to catch a striper with us. It's super, super fun. Striped bass is typically at Lake Castaic and Lake Pyramid. Lake Casitas, we're chasing typically largemouth bass. We also do smallmouth bass at the same lakes that the stripers are in. And of course, largemouth bass at all 3 of them. One of my specialties is largemouth bass and striped bass. We do a lot of tournament prep for largemouth bass. It's one of the things I do. I like to do that, and that's where we set you up with the baits that are working at that time. Maybe a technique that you're a little soft on, you want to get a little bit better. I specialize deep water largemouth bass, and we do that all through the winter. That might be a really good trip for you to come out and try, and then we should swing that over here.
Talk about a dink.
Dink's got the dinks.
Makes it like a 36 fish.
Yeah.
A lot of the trips I like to do is I specialize in a lot of A-rig fishing and big bait fishing. A lot of bottom fishing as well, but if you wanted to come out and do a big bait trip, I'm all about that. That's one of my favorite trips on earth to do. We can do that targeting trophy largemouth bass or trophy striped bass. The three lakes are very unique in their own way. They're three complete different fisheries. Lake Casitas is an old lake. It's a man-made lake, and it's fed completely through rainwater, and it only holds largemouth bass as the apex predator. There's trout, bluegill, catfish, and crappies in there. But largemouth bass, that's what that lake is known for, and I love it. The genetic is insane in that lake. It has, at one point, I think it might still be 4 of the top 10 largest bass ever weighed in the world out of it. It held the state record from 1980 to the early 90s with a 22-pound bass. Lake Castaic is the state record holder for largemouth bass, but it also has smallmouth and stripers, which I love, and all the rest of the other fish that Lake Casitas has. Lake Casitas is really known for possibly, arguably, the lake that started the big bait fishing period in the 90s. A lot of guys were, before you can go buy a big bait, guys were whittling their own baits because Lake Casitas had a trout plant every Thursday, and the bass got big and they were so keyed in on these trout, and the big baits weren't available as much at that time. So I would argue that the big bait fishing started in Lake Casitas with the imitation trout. Okay, one other thing that you might or might not know, that Lake Casitas probably has the record of 10-pound largemouth bass, plus 10-pound largemouth bass. It is an incredible fishery. These fish are big and strong, and it's a Florida strain bass that has adapted really well to the West Coast. Okay, Lake Pyramid's one of my favorite lakes on earth. It's kind of a sleeper lake, and it's a big small lake, if you know what I mean. It's a small lake that fishes large. Has a great fishery with incredible striped bass fishing, largemouth bass fishing, smallmouth bass fishing, and all the other stuff as well. It is one of the first lakes in Southern California that sees the aqueduct water. So it's got a lot of different forage that comes in from the Delta area and wherever that water comes from, which feed these fish, and these fish are just very unique in that way. The next lake I do is Lake Castaic, and it's fed actually from Lake Pyramid. So it has all the same fish. It is a lot larger lake, and it is built completely different. Lake Pyramid is in the Los Padres National Forest, and Lake Castaic is in the North Los Angeles County area, a little lower and more of a quarry style with a lot of rock opportunities and high spots, long points, a lot of different opportunities. So the 3 lakes I do have 3 complete different fisheries, and I suggest maybe we fish all 3 of them together. Okay. So the gear I typically use is high-end quality rods, reels, line, and tackle. We use some of the best fishing lure companies like Bass Tricks, Demiki, Roboworm, etc. The rods are going to be new. We typically use new rods. We're continually changing and going through the rods. They're going to be high quality, whatever we're using at the time, and set up for the style we're fishing. We're not going, for instance, we're not going to use a spinning rod for a big bait. We're not going to use a big bait rod for if we're doing some finesse fishing. We have a style rod for every type of application that we do, and you'll get to use every one of them. The reels are the same thing. We're using high quality, great reels. I can't overemphasize the quality reels we're using as well, and you will get to use those as well. One thing that I'm excited to do with new fishermen is give them the full experience on the boat. We have high-end quality equipment, great fishing lures, but we also have 20-foot tournament-ready high-performance bass boats. If you're new to fishing and you think you might want to try bass fishing, you get the full experience with the electronics, the boat, the gear, the equipment. Come on out, use the gear, and then decide what you think you might want to buy versus going out and buying it and not sure whether it's going to work. We could talk about that. Or, on the other hand, if you have gear and you want to learn how to use it, bring it aboard. Let's talk about it, let's use it, and get you really comfortable using it. We can definitely remove some of the trial and error. You're purchasing the equipment, using it, getting to know it, and streamline you into equipment that fits you the best. Thanks for watching. My name's Fred Kenshaw, Fred Kenshaw Fishing, Southern California Bass Fishing Guide. My phone number is 805-630-0160. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. You could also go to my website, www.fredkenshawfishing.com. I'll see you on the water. Hope to fish with you soon. Thank you very much.